This is Driving Solutions, exclusively on CPTnews.com.
The dealership buy-sell market has been buzzing. Today we are joined by Andy Gill, the founder and CEO of Gill Automotive Group, who not only brings years of experience as a former dealer, but now helps others navigate the market. We'll dive into the latest trends and his recommendations for dealers today. So Andy, thank you so much for joining us once again in the studio. We very much appreciate it. So what's going on out there? Talk to us about some of the trends that you're seeing right now.
It's brisk is the best word. Seeing a lot of liquidity, especially from the what I call regional buyers.
Okay.
The non-corporate buyers. They're out looking for interesting acquisitions, and there's a lot of them out there.
Sure.
In the last 3 weeks, we engaged, just to give you an example, we engaged a domestic dealership outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, in the Carolinas.
Okay.
And I guess 30, 35, 40 million in revenue, a smaller store, struggling, and put it out there, and we had 10 LOIs in 7 days.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen anything like it.
Wow, it is brisk out there.
Yeah, and so the first thing I thought it was underpriced, and then I got looking at it, and I said, no, it's the market.
Yeah.
And I dove a little bit more into that metro market there. And so what I'm seeing right now is a lot of the smaller, mid to smaller stores coming to market.
Okay.
Small being 12 to 25 million in revenue.
Okay.
Medium size being probably 30 to 70 million.
Okay.
And then the ones larger from there, up from there. But I think a lot of the dealers that own stores now are taking a hard look at it.
Yeah.
They know the market's still brisk. They know the buyers are still in the market. And there's a lot of movement right now.
Yeah, no question about it. Can you share with us a recent success story that highlights your firm's unique approach?
Yes. The most recent one I can think of, I was asked to assist Bobby Gill in the sale of Myrtle Beach Kia.
Okay.
We closed that back in mid-February. Sold it to Vernon Krause, local dealer
here in Atlanta. Yeah.
But that's an interesting story. And one thing I wanted to point out, when we were talking this morning, that engagement began with a dealer reaching out to me, one of my primary buyers, not Vernon Krause, who asked me to approach Bobby about buying his dealership, which we call an unsolicited offer.
Sure.
And my primary, what I tell all these people on unsolicited offers, if you're going to make one, the offer's got to be substantial and get his attention, or it's going nowhere.
Right.
But anyway, this particular dealer made the offer. The store was not on the market. Bobby Gill called me back about a week later and said, is this for real? I said, yes, for real. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And long story short, boom, 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 we closed the deal 3-4 months later. That particular dealer didn't buy it. Yeah. He got on another store out in Texas, at a larger store, and got off of that one. And then Vernon Krause came to the table and we sold the deal.
Right.
But that was a good one. I mean, that was a very seamless transaction for both sides. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a unique situation, right? I mean, they don't all go down like that.
Well, here's my thoughts on that. There's obviously dealers that are for sale, but there's a lot of dealers out there that just don't want to go through the process.
Right.
I mean, they know that for whatever reason their successor's not in place. They're having financial issues with the factory, whatever the reason. Age most of the time.
Okay.
Average dealer is 72 years old now.
That's right.
So, but they just don't want to go through the process. So, I get calls all the time from buyers who I primarily deal with. The guys that call me, what do you got?
You got them on speed dial.
100%.
They're in your nucleus.
Every week, 2 weeks, we talk, and what do you got? Because I've got a reputation of having unchurned stores. In other words, they've been on the market, they're packaged right, so forth. I'll have a buyer call and says, hey, do you think X, Y, Z, do you know this particular dealer? I said, yeah, I know who he is. Would you approach him? And so what we do is, assuming that the buyer is a known buyer, again, I won't do it with just anyone, but if I know he's a known buyer, then we'll go and prepare an unsolicited offer from an anonymous buyer, because there's no need in going any further if he's not for sale.
Right.
And I serve it up on behalf of that dealer, and I've done 5 or 6 deals that way.
Wow.
And that's where the good deals are.
Yeah.
That's when you see, oh my God, so and so just sold. It usually happens that way.
That's right. So where do you see the market heading? I mean, what should dealers be thinking about right now? You mentioned that the average age of today's dealer is 72 years old, and I think there's a lot of people out there, some that I've spoken to here at the show, where they're like, look, after COVID, and now we got tariffs, and we got all this other stuff, why am I not just on the golf course every day, right?
100%. Yeah. You go back to pre-2018, and again, I was a dealer till 2015.
Okay.
So I saw it for 23 years. I was a Chrysler dealer.
Okay.
And
now,
God bless anybody that's a Chrysler dealer out there right now. But there's a story there, though. When you look at Stellantis now, you asked me about the future, and I'm kind of getting there.
Okay.
The Stellantis, Nissan, and I'm even going to throw Mitsubishi in there.
Okay.
And Mitsubishi's down at the bottom of that list.
I know.
But everything is about price.
Right.
Everything is bought. A car, a house,
That's right.
anything
That's
you buy is about what I'm going to pay for.
That's right.
There's some real bargains out there right now with
Yeah.
Stellantis and Nissan.
Yeah.
And I read a couple articles just this morning on Nissan. I think they're starting to put it back together.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Stellantis has no leadership.
Yeah.
If they ever, the new fellow that's in there may be
That's right.
their answer, but they need to turn that corner.
That's right.
But as long as Stellantis has Ram and Jeep, that's a viable brand.
Oh, no question.
So it's price. It's price versus opportunity. So
That's right.
there's some really, really good bargains out there right now.
Yeah, in fact, Nissan with the new leadership, they're announcing new models in
100%.
other parts of the world, and it looks like that maybe they either got the financing that they needed, but I think so much of that is who's leading the team, right? And because there was a lot of dealers that felt as though we just have the wrong leadership here.
And
right?
I'll tell you another thing that crosses my mind all the time, only because I was a prior dealer and I was a prior Hyundai dealer. I had two Hyundai franchises.
Okay.
And I had them back when Hyundai wasn't Hyundai. Hyundai is outstanding.
Oh, outstanding dealership now. Yeah.
Any Hyundai or Kia dealership, and I'm going to throw Subaru in there.
Okay.
Because Subaru just came about in the next 5 to 7 years, the last 5 to 7 years. All right, anyone that's owned one of those franchises for over 10 years, their basis is practically nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't pay blue sky for these.
Right.
Most of them got
Right. Good
open
point.
points.
Yeah, good point.
If they bought them, I mean, the last one I bought, I paid $500 blue for it. That was decades ago.
Wow.
But they bought nothing because they weren't deemed that good a franchise.
That's right.
All right, so there's a ton of those dealers sitting out there right now with Kias, with Hyundais, and Subarus.
Yeah.
If they had any idea what the market value of those doors were in today's market,
Right.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll bring in, I mean, every bit. I mean, Hague says 5.5. Kerrigan, I think, is about 5.5. In the right market, they'll bring that or more. In Florida, they'll probably bring 6.5, maybe 7.
Isn't that something?
And so
Florida remains the strongest.
I always thought and you're talking to a dealer that's in his mid-50s, he's printing money in one of those franchises right now.
Yeah.
But if you could take 30 or 40 million blue off the table right now,
Bye-bye.
and go sit on the sidelines and wait a year and see what Mr. Trump's going to do or continue to do.
That's right.
It could be a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
So.
What impact does Trump and the administration have in all of this? I mean, obviously, right now we're sitting here at the end of March, and the deadline for the tariffs are coming about on April 2nd. Are you getting calls from dealers that are just saying, what does all this mean? I mean, if a tariff goes into effect and we're adding now more to the price of a car that's already almost $50,000, what kind of an impact is that going to have in my business? So talk to me about that.
Well, that tariffs, I don't believe they're ever going to happen in the first place.
Okay.
They could, because he's a strong businessman. He's a strong leader.
Yeah.
Without fail, I've never talked to a dealer. I haven't talked to any dealer that wasn't just jacked up because he's now in the White House.
Right.
Because he's pro-business, he's pro-cars, he's pro-everything.
Hell of a negotiator.
And, the tariff deal back and forth, basically he said, hey, if you're charging us 25, we're going to charge you 25.
Right.
Sooner or later, everybody's going to wake up and say, well, let's make it 0 on both sides and we move forward.
That's right.
But I don't think it's going to, if the tariffs come about, it may be a little pain, just like the stock market right now.
Sure.
But I don't see it hurting anything long term.
Okay.
I do not.
So you just think it's something right now that to hold tight, and this thing's going to work
Right,
itself out in our
100%.
favor.
And the market, I mean, everyone, the dealer body in general, the people I talk to are just absolutely ecstatic about the direction everything's going.
Yeah.
what he's doing to clean up the economy, everything about it.
That's right. That's right.
I think he's definitely a help, not a hindrance.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned that you were a dealer for 23 years. That means a lot to deal when you're talking to prospects, doesn't it? Because they know that you speak their talk, right? And they're like, hey, Andy, you've sat where I'm sitting, and you liquidated dealerships as a dealer. Talk to us about that. Is that why dealers choose you? Or
I would hope so. I mean, I throw that out there. I said, hey, if dealing with a former dealer for 25 years has any merit, I'm your guy.
Right.
And plus, I've been in the business since 1950.
Wow.
I mean, that's the third F&I manager in Atlanta, Georgia. Larry Dorfman, I saw him on your wall.
That's right. Larry Dorfman.
I used to butt heads for years when I was in the F&I business. But it absolutely does. I'm going to tell you why. When I get, during our process, when I get the financial statements in on the deal we're getting ready to list, and we do our analysis and our summarize the financials and do our demographic studies and find out who the employers are. When I'm looking at a statement, I'm looking at that statement like I'm going to buy that dealership.
Okay. So you put your dealer hat on.
100%. I'm looking at his front end gross. I'm looking at his F&I gross.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his used car turns.
Sure.
I'm looking at his service gross to sales, all of that.
Right.
All right. And so when I'm looking at it, it's not a multiple times bottom line earnings.
Okay.
It should be a multiple times bottom line earnings plus what that dealer is leaving on the table.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right. Right. And as a former dealer, you can see
100%.
that. You can check it out and go, this you're doing $1,000 a copy in the back end. This needs to be $1,800 or $2,000.
Well, no, it's more than that. I mean, we usually, you got to have a benchmark. The benchmark with me is the 6 public companies.
Yeah.
Right now, today, $2,404 a copy is the average in F&I.
Well, there you go.
So if you get a guy that's doing $1,500, he's leaving $900 a copy.
That's right. That's right.
And F&I on the table.
Times that by the volume, and there's your.
I look at dock fees.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're in a tier 2 market, and you got a dealer with a $4.99 dock fee, which I see occasionally, and his competitor's $8.99, that's $400 a copy.
You're leaving
with no
on the table.
expense right now.
That's right.
So we're looking at that. So that's when you hear so and so just sold his Ford store and he got a 9 multiple. He didn't get a 9 multiple. He got, somebody paid him for what that store was really worth,
right,
because somebody took the effort to package that deal and show the buyer, here's why you got to pay that number.
That's right, especially if you're selling it to a dealer that really has got a well-oiled machine in their group, right? Somebody says, as soon as we can take our XYZ package over here and put it on that store, and our management team, we can just
100%.
Take no prisoners from day one.
So, and I tell every buyer that we engage, every seller that we engage with, I'm your partner until we sell this dealership.
Right.
Because think about it, he can't talk to anybody else.
Yeah.
He may talk to his banker, he talks to his wife, obviously.
Sure.
But he's got to have someone, and when he wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning, say, what am I getting ready to do?
Yeah.
And I'll answer the phone. I'm that crazy guy that'll answer the phone. So I think being a prior dealer and understanding what's between that guy's ears, or the seller's ears, or a woman's ears, is a big plus.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question. For dealers considering selling, what's the one key takeaway that you want to leave them with?
Timing is everything.
Okay.
I mean, again, let's go back to 19, before COVID.
You're right.
And everyone was doing exactly what we're doing now. We were in a real car business. Then COVID comes along.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they can't spend it fast enough. I mean, everyone's balance sheets was cleaned up.
Just crazy.
No debt.
Right.
I mean, a lot of guys quit floor planning cars.
Yeah.
Their CMA accounts got stacked.
Wow.
But now we're back to where we are.
Right, reality.
And so now you're seeing a completely new crowd emerge, and that's the Kias and the Hyundais and the Subarus. Toyota is still the holy grail. Any metro market Toyota store is 10 times.
Right.
And 10 times adjusted earnings, not statement earnings. Okay.
And they're lining up to get it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's just an ideal time. The stars are aligned. I go back to what we talked about a minute ago with Kia and Hyundai and Subaru.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm a dealer out there, you got to think about that.
Yeah.
He may not be in quite the market he wanted to be in when he started this, but look what's happened.
That's right.
All right, the money is there on those franchises,
no question.
on most all of them right now.
I know. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Even again, going back to Stellantis and Nissan and Mitsubishi.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Timing is where it's at, and of course aligning yourself with the right advisor.
Well, it's that, but here's the other thing too, Jim. And I am touting myself. That's why you gave me the opportunity to come tell my story here.
That's why you're here.
You got to package it right.
Yeah.
The package has got to be right. We know the numbers inside and out, and our executive summary, which is a color,
Right.
20-page deal.
Right.
Shows all of the pictures of the dealership, the surrounding area, the demographics of the area. We've got the cross-sale report. We drop the numbers in there.
That's great.
We show them exactly what their competitors are doing.
Yeah.
And then I sit back as a former dealer and tear the numbers down and say, all right, this is where the holes are in this statement. This is where we're going to upsell this deal. This is where we're going to start this deal.
Right.
And then we go in and package it up with that particular market, the growth of that market.
Sure.
And it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
So when we take it to market,
Right.
if someone has a question, there are very few questions, but we answer them all before they ever ask them.
And you're probably thinking, well, not only do I want to be thorough and get the most for this particular dealer that we're representing, but at the same time, when that dealer wants to flip the store or wants to do changes or retire, whatever, you want to be the one that they call, right?
100%.
To say, I love the way that this transaction
Or
went down.
either better than that, like Bobby Gill selling his store in Myrtle Beach. He said, anytime anybody calls me, you're the first guy that gets called.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's a trust. What I do is a complete 100% trust.
Right.
They've got to trust you not only to be quiet about everything that's going on and not put it in the street.
That's right.
But knowing how to do it and to take the deal across the finish line.
Yep.
And I'm 10 years down the road, probably 55 or more deals.
Yeah, wow, that's great.
I've done $250, $300 million deals, and I've done $10 million deals.
Right,
So a deal's a deal. But I will promise you, there's not a deal on the face of the earth my company can't take down if we get the call or just get the opportunity to bid on the deal.
There you go. You've heard it here first, dealers. So give them a call. But Andy Gill, founder and CEO of Gill Automotive Group, thank you so much. And again, former dealer, former F&I, you know the deal inside and out. That's how you look at it. I think that's probably your competitive advantage, right?
100%. That's what keeps me driving.
Great.
I'm still in the car business.
There you go. There you go. You bleed oil. Thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Driving Solutions, exclusively on CPTnews.com.